we make you laugh? Aren't we fucking funny?
Does that sound right?
What's the boogeyman?
Welcome back to the Moonjuice Mountain Horror Podcast, the podcast where we live and breathe heavy metal and horror, but not afraid to shit on both of them. Good.
Good job. You nailed it. Okay.
I nailed. Oh, this time I really nailed it. No?
Yeah. You fucking got it. You're getting better at this than I am, dude. I seem to be fucking it up lately, and you seem to be getting it right.
Yeah. Well, what we forgot though is I'm Mike.
Yeah. He's Mike. I'm Matt. Just in case you guys didn't already know, if you're new to the podcast, those are our names. This is going to be an interesting episode, dude, because I watched this movie yesterday, and I have purposefully stayed away from anything that I could learn about this movie before seeing it. One, because I'm a huge fan of the genre, just like you are. And I didn't really have any preconceived notions going into this. I'm also a fan of the original black and white film, and also a fan of the remake that was done with Benicio del Toro in 2010, right?
Me too. I like the original, and I like the one from 2010. Even though 2010, you can say was a little bit slow paced and drags a little bit, not because it's extremely fucking long, or it feels like, at least. No?
Yeah, it was a long movie. But before we spoil it, what movie are we doing, Mike?
Wolfman 2025. So basically, Wolfman movie that's not a Wolfman movie. A werewolf movie where the entire time it is about a werewolf, but at no point whatsoever in the movie you actually see a werewolf. Even though a lot of people are being hunted by a werewolf, you never really see a werewolf.
How did we go so wrong? How did we go so wrong with this? This is my question, Mike. When somebody like Blumhouse, right? When somebody like Blumhouse takes a movie or a sacred IP, which I consider this a sacred IP, and I think most horror fans would agree. Yes. They take a sacred IP, and what is the fucking thought process there? This pisses me off, dude. I'm actually a little angry. We take a sacred IP and we say, okay, everything that was good about that sacred IP, including the remakes that have been made and the lore and all that stuff, let's just take that and ignore everything about it that makes it good, and hope that it's going to be a good movie.
I mean, they've done this with so much things, but now they've done actually Wolfman. Not that we can a sacred IP specifically for werewolf fans. Not only does this movie entirely shit on werewolf lore entirely, it's Wolfman. Wolfman is the father of the modern werewolf we know. Everything people know and believe about werewolves comes from this fucking IP.
Yes.
They turn by full moon. You can kill them with a silver bullet fire or from another werewolf. You become one if you get bit by one. That was all established through Wolfman. I mean, it might not be the first movie who created those ideas. I would have to look into it. But Wolfman was clearly the movie that established all of those things to people in pop culture as what we know as werewolves. It popularized it. Similar to Terminator, the evil AI shit. Terminator was not the movie that created that concept in fiction, but it popularized it and made it into what we know today. That is for Wolfman. And they do it with this fucking movie. I mean, if it was, for me, it's one of those things, if it was one or two things about it, it would be like, yeah, okay, they changed that, fine. But it's like, there is no movie whatsoever that I have seen where this is it just ignores any werewolf lore that has ever existed. Even Ginger Snaps. You can say a lot about Ginger Snaps, one of my favorite werewolf trilogies of the time, and I would say definitely one of the best werewolf movies made. It does a lot of things different than any other werewolf thing. No, but still to a certain degree establishes werewolf lore. No, I mean, it ignores entirely the weaknesses and strengths of werewolves. The entire full moon is thrown out the window and whatever, but everything beyond that, it's a werewolf. No, so no, but
Yeah,
this is
right.
like, I don't know. This movie is
That's so that's the thing too, Mike. Like the first movie that we did for this podcast was called Werewolves, right?
right.
And
Yeah.
we trashed that film because
Oh yeah.
aside from the look of the werewolves and how good they did with the costumes, everything else was utter garbage. But even that film did not ignore the most important parts of the lore. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And if it's
Exactly.
not a hard thing to do, it's not a hard thing to do to just say, okay, we have this time-honored tradition in movie
Yeah.
making with werewolves where we do not change X, Y, and Z. These things are things you don't change. Very rarely has anybody completely just nixed those things from the whole mix, right?
Mhm.
Like ignored everything and tried to create their new thing. And if they did, that movie is terrible and people fucking hate it. There's not one of those movies where they did that people were like, this movie is great. No, it's fucking garbage. Because there are certain things that you have to remember with werewolves that happen, that are a thing. This movie defangs. That's the best word I can come up with. It defangs werewolf lore completely. Right. And I don't understand why this movie got the title it got. Like,
Yeah, well,
why would you do
because
that?
because
Why would you specifically
because
trick people into seeing a movie that is not about what the title is? What the fuck?
I know, because it is technically a reimagining of Wolfman, because the basic plot is Wolfman. No,
Yeah.
I mean, you have like this one guy, having problems with his father. Nah, moves away because his father was a complete fucking dick. Nah, something happens to his father, so he returns as an adult after so much time back to his hometown, gets attacked by a werewolf, and then becomes one. And then in the end scene, a showdown. I mean, the werewolf that attacks him turns out to be his own father. No, at the end, pretty
Yeah.
much towards the end, comes an M down between the two werewolves. One kills the other, and blah blah blah. So the basic plot, they literally took the basic plot of Wolfman, reimagined it a little bit, and then just made their own entire thing.
Yeah.
And how should I say it? And even when I come back, okay, I'm gonna bring. I mean, maybe I should leave this up for the point when we get into the movie, but I'm saying it now. This is the worst werewolf design I have ever, ever seen. I mean, there are multiple werewolf stories and movies where you see where the werewolves basically just turn into wolves. Werewolf design I specifically do not like, but I would not necessarily say that that would ruin a werewolf movie for me.
Right.
No,
Right.
but this, I mean,
Yeah.
this does not even fuck. This is not a werewolf. This looks like a fucking crack addict you see somewhere laid on the street. I know this. I mean, I mean, I mean, I mean, it is. I mean, this is not a werewolf. It's a homeless crack addict now sitting next to a supermarket asking people for money.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I mean, and
That's
I know this.
exactly the vibes I got from this, dude. It is a person who is on
I mean, but
drugs,
no.
who has quit cutting their fingernails.
I mean, now this is crazy. Now I know this because the funny shit is, I was yesterday with our drummer and a friend of ours at a lake. Had a nice
Yeah.
afternoon, everything great. When we were driving home through Frankfurt, no shit, I saw a homeless guy drinking a beer or something. I don't know what it was. He
Yeah.
was obviously stoned out of his mind. Don't know what it was on. It looked exactly like this fucker. I was, this is like literally a day after I watched the fucking movie, and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. And my thing is, if you were going to do this, if you thought, okay, how can we reimagine this film to where it's going to do something fresh and new? Because that's what you do. When you do a remake, you say, okay, we
Yeah,
have
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
great plot, we have a great story, we have a sacred IP. What can we add to this to make it even more interesting? That's not what this
Mhm.
movie does. It does the exact opposite. They were like, what can we take away to make this more bland and stupid for the audience? Like, we're going to take everything that was good and we're going to erase that from the original IP. And what you're stuck with is a homeless guy with long nails who attacks families for what reason we don't know. So it's never explained in the film what exactly, other than the person being crazy, why they want to attack humans. That's the other thing that bugs me. Like there has to be a reason. You know what I mean? But this
Yeah,
thing is
I
basically
mean,
just a berserker, crazy on drugs person in the
yeah.
woods.
I mean, the thing is, if it was just a werewolf in there, there would not be no explanation necessarily because it's a fucking werewolf. No,
Yeah,
but but this is,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's just from beginning to the end. It's like if it was just like some family drama shit, I would be like, yeah, okay, whatever, you know. And then, and even if this was just some fucking crack addict attacking them, I would have said, okay, it's not a bad movie. But because it's supposed to be a werewolf movie, it's like, I mean, just I don't care whatever. The two main things is werewolf transformation, no, and the werewolf design, no. Those things are essential to a werewolf movie. You could like, there are multiple ways you could do
Yes,
them.
I
I would
agree.
say, no, but if those things are bad, that automatically, I mean, for me, no,
Yeah, me
makes
too.
the movie it ruins the movie for me. Everything
I
else,
think most people, Mike, I think most people are that way. If you're a horror fan or you're not a horror fan, right? If
yeah,
somebody says werewolf, then you expect a certain thing. And those two things are metamorphosis scene and creature design. That's my mom would say that, and she's not even a fan of horror movies or werewolves. She'd be like, "Oh well, I mean, there's got to be a cool scene where the human transforms into a werewolf. Like that would be
yeah,
essential. And then how does that werewolf look? Is he scary? Is his presence on screen emotional? You know what I mean? Like, is it scary? Right? And those are the two important things. That does not happen in this film. There's not one moment in this film where I felt like this creature is scary. Not once. Not once.
no,
There's a jump scare that happens in the film that it felt like their last bastion and the only thing that they could do to get the audience to jump out of their seat a little bit. And it happens at a point where you absolutely expect it. And I don't think it's because we're horror fans that I'm like, yeah, I completely expected that jump scare to happen at that time. I think it's an obvious thing for anybody that watches the film. The setup is set up perfectly for it to happen. And you see it coming 10 minutes prior to when it happens. And that's the only part in the movie where you're like, oh shit, okay, you know? It's just poor choices all the way around. And then to add to that, and certainly we'll get into it, right? But to add to that, the choices of the other people in the film and the choices that they make throughout the film are the exact opposite of what a real human being would choose to do. And that bugs the shit out of me too. So the other characters in the movie are not believable at all. Not at all. Not even in the slightest. It's a perfect fucking storm of mediocrity, right?
yeah, that's great.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree with you, 100%. I mean, okay, now just before we get into the cast and the movie, if you like this podcast or like this episode, don't forget to give us a like, make a comment on this video, and subscribe to our channel to be updated when we upload a new episode. And with that, I would say I'll just shortly get into the cast and then we can start, getting into the movie, like ripping it apart. No?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have
Tell
now
us the cast
as
of useless people in this film.
Useless
Yeah.
people, exactly. Okay, you have Silver Surfer playing the mother. No, if you did not know this.
Yeah. Which
I
is a
mean,
shame, Mike, 'cause she's a great actress.
yeah,
She's in
absolutely. I mean,
Ozark. I don't know if you've seen Ozark, but holy
mhm.
shit, great actress. Great
I mean, yeah,
actress.
Julia Garner is her real name. Yeah, she's a great actor. And the problem are not really the actors, I would say, because there's no actors. I would say the acting was bad. No. Then you have Christopher Abbott, that is basically Wolfman in this movie. Lion Lay Whannell, whatever the fuck that is. Matilda Firth as Ginger Love. I mean, that's one fucking cringe ass name.
It is
Um,
totally a cringy name. I read that earlier.
and then you have Sam Yeager. I have no idea who this guy is because I barely remember ever seeing the movie. I think he might be the guy's dad or whatever. Then you have Benedict Hardy. He's the redneck. We'll see later on in the movie. Zach Chandler, young Blake. Milo Cawthorn. And they have an extra fucking actor that plays the Wolfman.
Yeah.
His name is Ben Prendergast, the guy that's playing the crack addict in this
Right,
movie.
right.
And okay, the movie was directed by Lai Wannell. He's even a fucking character in this movie. Oh my god.
Are you serious?
Okay. I don't remember what character he is, but apparently he's somewhere in this movie, no?
Okay.
However, Kalai Daniel is the director. It was made with a budget of $14 million, and well, the movie sucks. It was made
Yeah.
from Noisy, and then of course you already mentioned, I think that was made from Blumhouse. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was so much to the cast. And yeah. Then I guess
Can we point out Blumhouse real quick? Can we smack them around just a second?
Yeah,
Okay.
Blumhouse, the studio that's infamous for ruining pretty much every single horror movie they touch. And most movies they made were not really successful. I'm not sure financially. I'm not sure how this movie did, but when it
Well,
comes to
that
audience,
I think that's the point. That's the point I want to make. So this is a conglomerate of a few people that made a movie studio, and so what they do is they take sacred IPs
yeah,
and they make their own version out of it, and they do so with a very large budget. That's what Blumhouse does. They throw money at a movie hoping that it's going to
yeah,
do well, especially if it's a sacred IP, and it's usually a cash grab is what it comes down to. And the one that I can point at specifically as the best example is the Halloween franchise, right? These guys, and we will do those movies because I can't wait to do those movies because I'm gonna fucking trash them. But they went and they did the Halloween franchise picking up after part one, right? So they ignored part two and all the rest of the movies that came after it, and they picked up and made their own part two, part three, and part four. And they took everything that was good about the first Halloween movie, which there wasn't that much, right? But whatever. They took that movie and they expanded it. And they shit on everything that is Michael Myers. They shit on everything that is Laurie Strode. The characters were inconsistent in every film. The writing was terrible. The acting was bad. And those movies made a shitload of money just because it was an IP that was sacred. So that's what these guys do. That's what they're known for. There has not been a good
yeah,
Blumhouse horror movie that has come out that I like. And so if it has Blumhouse attached to it, you can pretty much bet that it's not going to be very good. But it's going to make a lot of money because they throw huge budgets at these films. And I think that is selling the soul of something that means something to a lot of people. Like the original Wolfman movie means something to a lot of horror fans. The older generation remembers that film. Halloween means something to so many horror fans, and they completely destroyed it. And there's no apology. There's no like they don't insult fans like Disney does when people hate something. Like they pretty much stay out,
yeah,
but
yeah.
they are completely unapologetic about doing it. You know what I mean? They're just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we got our money. Who cares? And that's what it comes down to. And I'm not saying go boycott Blumhouse or anything, but just know if Blumhouse does something that you're not going to get a true depiction of what the original movie really was or a decent continuum of that. And if it's a remake, holy shit, it's going to be a giant pile of shit. And that's what we get. That's what we get with this movie, and that's what we get from anything that comes out of Blumhouse, and that has not changed. And I hate to sound like an angry fanboy, but I am an angry fan.
Yeah, the thing is, yeah, I mean, actually, I mean, so far, I mean, we've done the cast. Now we can get into the movie,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's so mediocre. I mean, you can literally explain this entire movie like in under a minute, no? But we're gonna stretch it out so we get a full episode out of this one, no?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to stretch anything. I have nothing but terrible things to say here, Mike.
Now,
I have
mean,
nothing but terrible things to say here. And if we did a full episode of us just ripping on the movie without going through it, it would last about 2 hours. That's how much bad shit I have to say.
I mean, are you leading the episode or me this time? I don't remember what we said.
If you want to, you can, or I can do it. I've got it up on my screen right now.
Yeah, fine. Okay, great. Well, okay.
You want me to do it?
Well, then the movie starts out with like this. Well, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. I just started. Okay, I'll lead the episode so you can you can spend your time on just raging out on it.
Okay. Can I before you start it, can I mention the opening scene and exactly what this does real quick, and then I'll let you continue from there?
Yeah.
Okay. So in kind of true Blumhouse fashion, they open the movie on this kind of beautiful, expansive area in the forest with a house sitting in the middle, and it's obviously a farm, right? So you get that picture, but immediately above that, you start getting words. And so what they do is explain to you what happened up until this point. And this right here, I'm going to read it to you. This right here, if you just read this, you don't really need to see the movie. You don't really need to see the movie because they give away everything at the very opening of the film, making whatever happens in this film pointless to watch. Okay. So you get the scene. There's a big, beautiful, like country farmhouse, and it's nestled in the mountains with all these trees. And then you get the words. In early 1995, a hiker went missing in the remote mountains of Central Oregon. After several sightings, some members of the isolated local community began speculating that the missing man had contracted an animal-borne virus they called Hill's fever. Let that soak in for a minute. The indigenous people who came before, which that's naturally Native Americans, called it something else. And then they say the name that I can't pronounce in their own language, so I'm not even going to try to butcher it. Also known as Face of the Wolf. Right? So, before you see any actors, before you get any of the story, before they completely set the setting, they've told you the entire fucking film. There's no mystery, and they don't do this in any of the other Wolfman films. There's no mystery as to what is going on. It's almost like they knew you were going to be disappointed. Go ahead.
Yeah. The only thing they say basically the other way is they give a hint. They have this one saying, under a full moon, even the most righteous man can become a wolf, and blah, blah, blah.
That is taken directly from old literature about werewolves that it was in the form of a poem. It's got historical context.
Exactly.
This has no historical context, and it almost feels like a fucking apology for what you're about to watch. That's my point.
Exactly. However, the only thing it had was that poem at the beginning, the original Werewolf and the remake 2010. However, the movie starts out, they're on this farm, and you have like some guy and his kid getting ready to go out and hunt some shit in the woods.
Right.
Then they have a short discussion going on. The father told the kid he shouldn't have done something, and the kid said, "Yeah, but I want to do it." However, and then they go in a gun, and then they go out into the woods. Okay.
The thing that gets me about this opening scene is that they they tried to make an excuse that the father is paranoid. They've done a few points here to make it clear. This guy is obviously ex-military, right? Because of the tattoos that he has, because of the fact that he tells his son, "Hey, we leave at 0700 hours for hunting."
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
paranoid. Some trauma has happened to this guy that he is extremely paranoid about something happening to him and his son. He's just
Yeah.
one of those guys that left the military and is now very cautious of the government and very cautious of anything that could possibly hurt you. Like he's your typical ex-vet. And
Yeah.
he's pushing that on his son to the point where his son is basically scared shitless of him.
Exactly.
But yeah, go ahead. So they're going hunting, right?
They're walking through the woods, and they're walking over this creek or whatever, and then the father's telling the kid something, and the kid just has his head in the clouds. It's a kid. Eat the mushrooms. Something about mushrooms. No.
Yeah,
And then
death cap mushrooms.
Yeah. The father is like, "Oh, what did I tell you?" And the kid was like, yeah, don't eat the mushrooms."
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the father goes on
there's
like,
this
"Oh,
air
yeah,
and
it's beautiful
presence.
here."
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's beautiful here,
there's
but
this air of everything can kill you. Everything can kill you. You have to listen to me or you're just gonna fucking die a horrible death alone in the woods if you do not listen to me. Like this guy is a complete psycho, man. And it's no wonder that this kid runs away. Like living with a parent like this is like living in perpetual torment and fear. Not good for any kid. This guy sucks. He sucks.
Yeah. I mean, however, then they go off in the woods. They see a deer. They want to shoot it, but I think the father misses, and then the kid runs off because he wants to get the deer or whatever. After the dad told him not to do whatever. No, then he sees the deer. He points out he didn't shoot because he sees a figure off in
There's this.
the distance.
You see it for a split second, and even then, Mike, it is obvious that this figure that you see for 2 seconds is a human. It is a human.
I mean,
it has human
it's a human.
form.
It's supposed to be the werewolf, but no. So, however, then the dad comes and blah blah blah. He starts screaming at the kid or whatever. No, blah 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 blah. And the kid's like, "Oh yeah, but I wanted to hit the doors." And the father's like, "Blah blah 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 blah." And then then they hear something, and then the father is like, "Oh my god!" You can still see that the father something. Go towards that tree house over there. So. He tells the boy to. Yeah. So the boy runs over to the treehouse. The father shortly follows him. No, and then you can already hear these noises in the background. Now this is the only good thing about it. The sounds the werewolves make. They sound cool. That's it. No.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah. However, they call up into the treehouse, and then just sit there, and you see like something. You can hear the werewolf, the werewolf, climbing up
The crazy
the ladder.
bagman with long fingernails who breathes really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Crackman. We could just call him Crackman.
The homeless man in the woods. Yes.
The homeless man in the woods. Yeah.
Here's a question, Mike. Here's a question I have, because why does this creature make these noises? If there's nothing about this creature that is creature-like. Because you're right, the sounds are cool. It sounds like a werewolf, right? There's nothing about the physical form of this thing that would lead you to believe that it could make sounds like this. That bothers me.
Yeah.
But continue. Yeah.
Exactly.
Dude, this scene is garbage.
This is the next scene that makes no sense. You see the werewolf breathing up there, whatever, I don't know, whatever. No?
You get kind of like steam coming up.
Yeah,
you don't actually see the creature in this part.
The werewolf clearly knows they're sitting in this treehouse because it has been following them, and he sees it. The werewolf sees them go up into the treehouse, and then for some reason the werewolf just is like, "Oh, fuck it, no, I tried," and left. No.
Yeah. So there's something here, and I wanted to go back and look it up. But maybe you noticed it as well. Chrissy actually made me go back and watch it again, this part, because there is a scene here, and I think that they put it in here specifically, but then they decided to do nothing with it. And maybe you know what I'm talking about. There's a scene where you see the dad with his rifle trained on the door of the treehouse as if this thing is coming up. And then the camera slightly pans to the left of him as if something is going to come up behind him. And what you hear is a whistle, like a dog whistle. Did you catch
Okay.
that? There's
No,
a
I
dog
didn't.
whistle. She caught it and I missed it. So we went back and watched it again. And when the camera pans behind him as if something's going to pop up behind him, you hear something that sounds like a dog whistle. And then the creature retreats and goes away. Right. And so I thought, okay, maybe this thing is being controlled by somebody else who is able to call it back at whim whenever it wants to, because obviously we heard the dog whistle. That never comes back in the film. There is no recall for that. There's no explanation of the whistle, which is what makes the thing go away. It is just an unused thing that is there to make you think a little bit, and then they don't use it again.
Yeah, okay. Well, I didn't catch that one, but however, even if it,
that's what happens.
Whatever. I mean, this could also just be some guy with his taking his dog for a walk in the woods and somehow have a dog whistle or whatever. I don't know. However,
yeah, possibly, but it was specifically put there to make you think something, and it never came to fruition.
Yeah, but still, it fucking. I think it's a garbage scene. I think then it cuts back like this is in the evening now, and then the kid is somewhere in his room. No.
Yeah.
Getting up, and then he's walking through the house, walking down to the basement, and he can hear his dad talking to somebody through I don't know what these things are called. I don't remember. No, but he's saying like, oh yeah,
Yeah, it's like it's a radio. It's an
radio.
old it's an old army radio is what it is.
Army
Like
radio.
it would be from like Vietnam era.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's using call signs that we use in the military. So that's another
hint
that the guy was ex-military.
And this is the point where you see his tattoo on his hand, the father, and the father is in the phone like, come on, I saw this thing today, and it attacked me and my boy, and we have to get rid of it. So this is a thing that clearly knows that the locals, I mean, it was already said clearly in the beginning, the locals know about this fucking thing.
Yeah, they do.
What makes the decision? Why the fuck are you still living there? And why the fuck did you decide to go into the woods if you know there's a fucking werewolf in there?
The only thing I can think of is that these guys live so remotely that they kind of have to hunt for their food, which makes sense. So you would have to do that carefully, right? But here's the other thing that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, Mike. We find out later, like just a little bit later after the scene, we find out that this thing attacks at night, and it's clearly said that this thing attacks at night. So why in the fuck did it almost attack them in broad daylight at the beginning of the movie? Right?
Yeah.
No sense. Makes no sense. Fuck.
However, I don't remember what actually happens between the father. The kid sees the father sees the kid. Then it cuts back.
That scene was set up just specifically so that you would know that the kid is aware
that something was going on. Yeah. But however, then it cuts back then to modern day. And then you see the kid
later,
now
right?
grown up. He's married, has a kid of himself. He's walking with his kid through the street, and they're talking about, I don't know, whatever stuff. No?
Cute little girl.
What?
Cute little girl.
Yeah, a cute little daughter.
Very cute little daughter. Like, I like her acting. I like her character. She's the only thing that keeps this movie going, dude. This poor little girl's shoulders have to hurt so bad after carrying the weight of this entire film on her shoulders. I feel bad for her. Like, they should have just, whatever money this movie made, they should have just given all of it to her because she's the only thing in this movie that's like good.
Yeah.
God, her shoulders hurt.
Okay. However, they're walking through the street. She was balancing on this one thing, jumps off of it, and then because her dad, the I don't know what, I'm just calling him Wolfman, so we know what we're talking about. Wolfman starts getting onto his daughter because he didn't do what he was says about, and she's scuttered because he was screaming at her. No, obviously this is a type of guy that has never done this to his daughter before. No, of
Yeah.
course, then he apologized to her. Sorry, I lost my temper and blah blah blah. No, and then she's cool about it
Yeah.
again, and then he does this thing like, what am I thinking? She puts her hand on his head and says this stupid thing, this thing like, "Oh, you love your little daughter," and it's kind of a thing that's going
Yeah.
on between him and her. No, okay,
She
then they
the
go home.
it's an interesting thing too, Mike, because
Yeah,
this whole thing that she does with him, she does it multiple times throughout the film, and it's to establish his humanity, right? So
yeah,
she puts her hand on his head and says, he goes, "Tell me what I'm thinking." And she says, "You love your little girl. That's
yeah,
what you're thinking." And he's like, "Oh, how did you know? How do you do that every time?" And it's to establish his humanity. And that comes up multiple
yeah.
times throughout the film later.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, then they come home. He's making food or whatever. His wife comes home and is talking some stuff on the phone. I don't know, whatever. To what work shit going on.
She's a writer, and
Yeah,
she has a very you get the feeling she has a contract for writing. So a lot of writers, if they do well, they get with a publishing company, and the publishing company, just like with bands, they're like, okay, so you have this much time to create your next work, and that's your contract. And if you don't follow through on your contract, then we're gonna have a problem. And so she's kind
yeah,
of rushing to get a book written, right?
yeah.
And she's stressed
However,
out and on the phone all the time, and you get the feeling like she doesn't spend a whole lot of time with her
yeah,
husband or her daughter at
yeah,
all, right?
yeah. However, that this is okay. He's making food. Then he got a letter, showed up, a notice that his father has officially been declared deceased. So then she gets off the phone and then she starts rambling something because I don't know, can we not do this now? Because they kind of start getting into an argument or whatever.
Yeah.
Then he basically just turns around and tells her, yeah, I just found out that my dad was officially deceased. And then she's all of a sudden, oh shit, because she didn't realize that he just found this out now. And she's
Yeah.
kind of feeling sorry because she got onto him and just found out that his dad died or whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this scene. And then it cuts back to next day. She's coming out of her work with her colleagues or whatever. And he's sitting there on the steps. Oh, hi, babe. How you doing? She's, oh, yeah, fine. Go on. We'll meet later. Then they start having this discussion that I really don't care about. I don't remember what they said. It's just you can clearly see that somehow they're having issues in their relationship. And I don't care about it. Let's go on. Because I don't care about Silver Surfer's love life. Don't care about it.
No, I don't care about Silver Surfer's love life either. But it's like they had to do this because they had to establish that these two characters are having relationship issues, and what they need to do is get away from society, because this is obviously New York, right? They need to get away from society and go spend some time together, because he says that she doesn't really spend time with her daughter anymore, and she doesn't really spend time with him, and he feels like they're losing their relationship. And by the way, in the envelope that I got yesterday telling me that my dad was deceased, I also got the keys to the house.
Yeah.
Let's go up there and hang out for a little while to try to save our relationship. And that's what that whole conversation's about.
Boring. Didn't they agree to it? And the next scene is you see them in this U-Haul truck, no?
Yeah.
Driving through the street in the woods or whatever. And then they're parents having a discussion with this kid doing this kind of game shit, whatever. You know, you see the little girl saying a few stuffs to them and whatever. Okay. Then they come up to this one road. No?
I love how you're
And
skipping. I love how you're skipping through like the extremely pointless, boring parts. Like nobody needs to know this. This is
what?
just fucking filler.
What?
Like get to the good stuff. And here's the thing, Mike. Exactly what you're doing is what I wanted to do yesterday when we were watching this. Every time they were talking, I was like, "Can we just skip ahead?" Because this, at this point, Mike, I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if you realize this. This is 21 minutes into the film at this point, and absolutely fucking nothing has happened. Nothing.
No, yeah. Nothing. And this is like, that the point is, this is 10 minutes. I mean, 10 full minutes where nothing else happens, but they're just
Yeah.
sitting in this fucking U-Haul truck, driving through the woods and talking some random small talk conversation that nobody gives a fuck about, no? Until they come up to this one street. And it's
Yeah.
apparently, I don't know, this one road or whatever, no? And they're like, okay, what are we supposed to do now? No? And then the daughter
Yeah.
says, oh, there's a guy standing over in that treehouse. No? He has a gun.
Yeah.
No? Then the guy starts walking down, and then Silver Surfer says, oh, we have to roll up the windows or whatever. No?
Yeah.
And and the guy knocks on the window and hi, oh, don't you remember me? And Wolfman is like, no, hey, I'm that guy. He's like, oh yeah, you're that guy. How nice.
Yeah.
No?
From his
And
childhood, right? Right.
yeah, as a child. He says, oh, but I thought this went up to my dad's house. And he's like, well, no, not really, not anymore. No, but I can
Yeah.
take you there. No, and he's like,
Yeah.
okay, get in. And Silver Surfer is like, no.
This is typical city folk, Mike. Like, so the way I grew up, I grew up in the city and then also in the woods, like a little bit of both, right? And so you don't
Yeah.
notice the dynamic unless you've actually had this. She is a typical city person who is untrusting of anyone who lives in the woods and carries a gun, which is very fucking normal, right? He grew up here, so he has no problem with it. He's like, no, it's okay. Everybody here has a gun, and everybody hangs out in the woods in fatigues. That's the way it works here, you know. And she's scared shitless of this guy. But like you said, he offers to get in the U-Haul with them and take them to his dad's property, which he doesn't remember how to get there anymore. And then they continue driving. But this is just to establish how fucking scared to death she is of anything that is not a fucking concrete jungle. Okay.
Yeah. However, okay, then they're driving down the street and
Well, you say street, but it's all woods. It's just dirt fucking road.
there's a road. I mean, kind of street road. They're driving through the woods or whatever to the father's property. Then you have a kind of short discussion going on. And the guy explains, oh, we have dangerous animals and things in these woods, establishing that this guy already knows that there's a werewolf outside. No, but makes him a complete fucking idiot. But however, and then he looks over, all right, don't you look at your wife and your kid and they're so grateful that you have such a great family and blah, blah, blah. No? And then and he's like, oh, yeah, right. No, whatever. Okay, this is kind of established that this guy loves his family, whatever, fine, whoever. Then all of a sudden, this is where we have the first jump scare. No, because, okay, they're driving through the street talking.
Yes.
Obviously, now some shit is going to happen. No? And then you see this, then you see Crackman standing on the road. No? And I'm going to call him Crackman because he doesn't look like a werewolf. It looks like a fucking homeless crack addict, so I'm calling him Crackman.
Yeah.
So Crackman is standing on the road. That causes Wolfman to, or should I call him Wolfman? No, I'm going to call him. What's his name?
He does become Wolfman, so yeah, you can do that. But
I would say Crackman.
Mike, can we pause?
He doesn't become.
Can we? Yes,
Crackman.
Crackman.
He becomes Crackman Junior. Crackman Junior. No,
yes, that's fine. Crackman Junior. Okay.
Yeah, okay, Blake. Okay, Blake.
Yeah.
No, okay. Then Blake, that causes Blake to get off the road, and of course, then the car starts, going through the woods and get.
This is a dumb scene. This is a dumb scene, Mike, for many, many, many fucking reasons. But go ahead.
Yeah, but for okay, it drives down a hill, hits multiple trees, starts flipping and going through the air, not hitting any trees, and then like 10 foot, gets stuck into a tree, between two trees, after it flies, I don't know, 20 meters through the air, flipping through, not hitting any trees, but now it's stuck between two trees, 20 feet in the air.
Yes. Yes.
And the reaction of everybody in that car was like, oh, well, shit happens. I mean, of course, Blake is, Blake is shortly like, Blake is a little bit disoriented, but then the
Oh,
one guy, the one guy that clearly the redneck that lives around here, just
yeah.
okay, I'm gonna open up the door and get out.
This whole scene, Mike, this whole scene, like this right here was enough for me to not want to finish the movie. Like that's how bad this was, right? And even Chrissy was like, I have no idea what's going on anymore. Like what's happening? So as you said, they're about to drive onto the property, right? And Bagman with long fingernails, who's on crack, is standing in front of
Crackman.
the entrance. Crackman. You see just a glimpse of him, and this guy who has his child and his wife and another guy in the car swerves as hard as he can into the forest, right? I'm sorry, you could say this is a knee-jerk reaction, but it's not. It's not.
No,
Anyone else, because
this is
Crackman was like 20 feet in front of the car, so you could have easily hit the brakes, which is like the normal thing that you would do, right? But no, he swerves off a country road into careens into trees. Like,
yeah.
this is the fucking woods, dude. And off the side of the road is basically a ravine. So he does this, and you get this stupid back visual of the vehicle going through these trees. And I'll mind you, we're on a downslope, right? And it's obvious that the camera is following the U-Haul on a downslope. It misses every tree, just like you said, and then stops and flips and ends up 20 feet in the air, perfectly level too, to where the like side of the top of the car, you could put a level on that shit, and the bubble would be right in the middle of the level, like perfect, right? To where they can get out of the car and sit on the top. It makes absolutely no sense. There's no time in reality where something like this would happen this perfectly. It does not work out this way. And like you said, the reaction of everybody in the vehicle is like, yeah, ah, shit. Oh, well.
Yeah.
We
However,
almost all just died, but and then fucking, like you said, the guy that's traveling with them is like, oh, well, I mean, I'm on the side of the car that's 20 feet in the air, so I'm just gonna open the door. That's what he does. And he falls 20 feet onto the fucking ground. This it's still light outside, Mike. You can still see the ground. He opens the door and just falls onto his back and is like, yeah, dude, what the fuck did you think was gonna happen? Aren't
Yeah,
you like an outdoorsman?
yeah.
Don't you have to have survival skills to live in a place like this?
I mean, no, this
You
is what this
basically
first,
just almost
first
killed
one
yourself.
that
by
is his
opening
first
the fucking
reaction.
door.
And this guy has already established, no, that there's a werewolf running. I mean, he already knows that Crackman, no, is out in the woods, no,
Right.
and so and he's like, oh yeah. First, if the fall doesn't get him, Crackman, no, I mean, I mean, Blake and his family. Okay, they don't know that Crackman is outside. However, then Blake tries to close the window, and then Crackman smashes into the window with his hand and scratching him. This is what officially gets infected. No.
Okay, so
Okay.
this was also not apparent, Mike. This was also not apparent.
Exactly.
This was not apparent. They could have gone out of their way to try to make this look more like he was scratched, but what it looks like is the guy's hand smacks the window and the glass flies towards him, and it looks like he gets a piece of glass stuck in his arm because he pulls something out of his arm. I don't know if you noticed that. He was like, like, okay, so he was hit by glass.
Yeah.
We find out later that he was scratched by this creature.
Yeah, exactly. Huh? You know, just like you said, right. I also, when I first watched it, did not really know that he was scratched. I put two and two together because later on he starts to turn. So this was the only point he could have got scratched. But however, then Blake and his family somehow managed to get out of the car, jump 20 feet down to the floor, and not be harmed by it. Don't know how they. Oh, or they get off to a cliff. They get out of the fucking car. That we know. No.
Yeah, you
But
missed the part though.
yeah,
The guy that fell out of the car onto his back, who very well could have just fallen to his death by being stupid and opening the window. You see
yeah,
him laying or opening the car door. You see him laying on the ground going, yeah, because he's had the fucking wind knocked out of him from falling 20 feet. Then you
yeah.
see the creature's arm grab him and drag him away. So now, and Wolfman saw this. Like Blake saw that. So he knows that this thing is out.
Yeah, yeah.
So he thinks it's a smart idea to jump 20 feet off of the car with his little girl and his wife, hoping that they don't get injured in the process of doing that while there is a wild creature out here murdering people. The guy is an idiot. He's an idiot. I would have camped out. I would have camped out on top of the U-Haul because let's face it, it is perfectly level to the ground. You could have just stayed up there. Stay there until morning, and then maybe you have a chance, right? But no, we're going to jump off, not knowing how far away we are exactly from your father's house. And we're going to run there after we risk jumping off the top of this 20-foot fucking U-Haul that's stuck in a tree. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. I'm frustrated by this movie the entire time by the choices that are made by the people that are in it.
Yeah. However,
Fuck.
okay. Then they get off the car down the ground. Now somehow they weren't hurt, but then they start to run because then all of a sudden the father like, oh yeah, okay. Oh, now I know we have to go. So then they start running through the woods. No. Eventually, they hear Crackman, roaring like a werewolf, no?
Yeah.
And then then they start running. And it's oh yeah, look, we're here at the farm. And then they keep on running because Crackman is behind them, no?
Yeah.
And then they run up to the house, and mother and daughter are screaming bloody murder, no? And then he manages to open up the door, and then they get in, slam the door shut, and then you can see Crackman bashing on the door, nah, trying to break in or whatever, nah. Okay, everybody's just terrified at this point, nah. And what the fuck just happened? What is that thing out there? And these things are going out, obviously, nah. And then the father is like, "Oh yeah, we have to barricade the door because that thing probably might eventually just break through."
Right.
He gets that done. Then they calm down their daughter, and the wife and the daughter sits down in, I think, what is the front room, and then Blake takes off to figure out how to get the electricity on. And you remember somehow was down in the basement was the circuit unit. He had to do that. He goes down with a flashlight, that he found in another room into the basement, and basically manages to turn the lights back on. Okay,
the choices here, Mike. The choices here, right? So this I have to point this out because I would be betraying myself if I didn't, right? How stupid is this fucking guy? Because you grew up. This is kind of the same concept as Halloween, where we're ignoring the fact that this guy grew up with a father who was obviously gun crazy. Like he's one of those ex-vets that has an arsenal in his basement, right?
Yeah.
This is one of those guys. This guy's first instinct is to go turn on the fucking power and leave his daughter and his wife, who are hopeless, helpless city folk, in another room in the house, knowing that this thing could come into the house at any time it wants to, right? It could. And we see it later that it's not a problem for this thing to come in the house, right? But he does not go looking for a gun when a gun would be the easiest thing in this house to procure, and goes immediately downstairs away from them to turn on the power, which would alert anything outside. We don't know if there's just one of these things or if there's multiple of these things, right? Turn on the power to where any animal within a radius of fucking 800 meters of this house now knows that there's people there if he turns on all the lights. And yet he still doesn't have a gun. The guy's a fucking, he deserves to die. That's where that guy and his whole family, because of his stupid choices, deserves to die.
Yeah. However, okay, yeah. However, okay. Then he goes back up
Jesus.
with the lights. And the lights are back on, and they're trying to figure out what happened and blah blah blah. They talk something about the radio in the room. No, that's basically what happens now in this scene. Maybe they can contact somebody to come here and help them. Discussion going on between Blake and Silver Surfer. No.
Yeah.
And okay, then she notices that that he's injured. No, so
Yeah.
she takes care of the wound, put up whatever. No, and at this point he's kind of starting to feel sick, but you don't really know what's going on so far. No, then he lays down, and then shortly later you see him here. He's extremely loud noises of something clapping against the walls or whatever.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, then he's walking through the house trying to figure out where this noise is coming from and whatever and blah blah blah. No? And still he opens until he comes to a hallway and he sees a spider, no, walking up the wall. No? And exactly when the spider moves
Yeah.
his legs, he hears these noises. So this is establishing that his hearing is now becoming sensitive because he's starting to turn at this point. No?
Yeah.
I'm not
Right.
calling him a werewolf. But he's starting to get sensitive. However,
The
then he
process
walks
has
down to
started.
his transformation is now starting.
Right.
He walks down into the basement and you see like Silver Surfer trying to contact somebody like, hey, something is happening, we need help. I think my husband got infected or whatever, and blah blah blah. No. Then Blake comes down this basement, no, and you see out of his point of view, his wife talking, and he doesn't understand anything. Everything to him now at this point just sounds like no. I mean, this is kind of start to point out like because he's starting to become a werewolf, he can't understand normal human speech or whatever, and blah blah blah. That's what this is trying to supposed to establish, but it's kind of dumb the ways. I mean, as early as this point going on, that's kind of what. However, it's I don't know. It's
Well,
just yeah,
there's another part that you missed though.
yeah,
And it doesn't it almost feels stupid to bring it up because it doesn't really add anything to it, but he
uh,
finds a room in the basement after he finds a radio that's kind of like a slaughterhouse, is where his dad used to hang the meat that he caught.
oh, yes.
And he this meat is obviously rotten. Like everything in there is rotten and disgusting. This would smell so putrid that you wouldn't be able to be in the basement, right? It stinks.
Yeah,
He goes into the room where the rotten meat is hanging up and looks at the cutting board where his father has been cutting the meat and finds like a dried piece of meat that's probably been there for, I don't know, 15 years or whatever. Picks it up and sticks it in his mouth immediately and starts chewing on it, right? So you also get the idea that he's starting to get that like craze for meat, right? But as he
yeah,
does this, he's chewing on it and his tooth comes out.
yeah,
And he's like holding it in his hand, like, what the fuck is going on? And, Silver Surfer's like, that's not normal. What's happening to you? And that's just
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
establish, okay, he is
yeah,
transforming, he's losing his human teeth, whatever.
yeah, yeah.
I don't really think we needed that scene, but they put it in here probably
Yeah,
filler. I don't know, because the
a
rest of
filler,
it is so
whatever.
fucking terrible. Whatever.
Yeah, however, okay, then they go back upstairs. I don't fully remember what happens yet after she is after the basement scene where she's like, "Oh, my husband is infected," and he
So
just
he
understands
comes back
gibberish
upstairs
because
and starts trying to barricade the door.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
barricades the door and then something goes on. Um and is this the point where he lays down? And,
So he continues to barricade the door while his family is sleeping. They're not really sleeping, and how could
yeah,
you? You'd be scared to death.
yeah,
But they're laying on the couch trying to go to sleep while he's barricading everything. There's a weird scene here that doesn't make any sense. It's almost like he forgets how to hammer in nails, right? So he has a
yeah,
nail
yeah.
and he puts it on a board on the floor
Mhm.
so that the goddamn what is it? It's like a bookshelf that he's putting in front of the door. He puts that on the floor so that it can't scoot forward if somebody were to try to open the door. And he's like I don't know. At this point, I don't want to use the R word, but he seems mentally challenged, right? And he's got
Yeah.
the nail, and he puts the nail, and he takes the hammer and tries to hit it, and immediately hits himself in the finger. Right? So he's also losing human ability to do normal human things like hit a nail into a board.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and his face is also starting to look a little different here too. It's slight,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's noticeable. And this is the same with the spider that you're talking about because he hears
Yes.
a sound in the house like somebody's in the house, goes upstairs, sees the spider crawling on the wall, and realizes that every movement that this spider makes sounds like thunder because he's hearing
Yeah.
everything so much louder. By the way, Mike, this is a gigantic fucking spider that does not belong in Oregon. This is a fucking giant tarantula. And Oregon does not have spiders this big, but whatever. Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
However, then at this point, then yeah, when it happened that he's understanding human speech, no? I think the mother a few times tries to contact somebody, whatever, and he's laying on the bed, no? And his wife is coming up to him, trying to tell him something, what's wrong with you, and whatever. Please just write down on a piece of paper, no? And then he, for with all of his all of his might, no, just writes on the piece of paper this word changing, no? And she looks
He's
at it.
dying is what he
Mhm.
writes.
Dying. Okay,
Dying,
okay,
yeah. But
yeah,
before that, we get a scene to where right after he hears the spider,
yeah,
he comes downstairs and realizes that something is walking around the house because he can hear it, right? And so he hears the footsteps around the house, and kind of
yeah,
follows it outside the window because he sees a figure walking, and then goes
yeah,
to the front door and puts his ear up to the back door, puts his ear up to the back door.
yeah.
And this is a continuity scene that does not work for a lot of reasons, Mike. And I noticed it immediately, and so did
Mhm.
Christy. Did you catch it? So
No, I forgot this scene. Yeah, yeah,
behind this back door, you open the door, and then there is a grate, like a metal wrought iron grate with mesh over it, right on the back door. So
yeah,
there's nothing that could come in if you open the inside door. It's just a metal grating with mesh. Nothing could come in. But he walks up to this door before we know that there's metal grating behind it and listens and hears something. And then an arm shoots out from underneath the door and grabs his foot, right? And pulls him to the ground and starts scratching his leg like horribly. The wife
yeah,
notices it, gets up, grabs the hammer that he used earlier to kind of injure himself instead of hitting in a nail, right? She grabs that hammer and runs over and starts hitting the arm that's coming through the door and pulls him away from it, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
the
yeah,
creature obviously has no problem breaking through doors or wood or anything like that, but doesn't try any further to do that. And then later, we see them open that exact same door that the arm came through. And that's when
yeah.
we notice that there's metal grating and mesh on it that the creature would not have been able to get through. And there's no hole in it to show that an arm came through. So that is a continuity error that is very hard to miss. And somehow they missed it. But whatever. Uh, I mean, that's kind of what you can expect from this film anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Stupid as
how
fuck.
I actually this entire part I don't fully remember. I mean, you remember this part better than I do, no? Because
I mean, I've got the movie up in front of me, so I'm just kind of following along with you. And I remembered
yeah,
that part earlier and couldn't remember where it
yeah,
came. If it came before he goes to the basement and starts realizing that he doesn't recognize human speech. This is before that.
yeah,
So he gets attacked through the
yeah,
door by this thing, and then now after this, he faints and goes and lays in a bed. And then you get the scene where his wife is in the basement trying to contact somebody on the radio because she realizes that he is
yeah, I
sick.
mixed that up, yeah.
Yep. And so he gets up and realizes that he's by himself in the house laying on the sofa, which is where his wife put him. Goes down to the basement, notices she's on the radio, and there, I can't I can't think of any other way to describe the way this looks other than like Twilight, right? Because everything in the room has a sparkle to it. And there's dust floating. You can see every particle of dust. So this is our Twilight moment. And what it's supposed to do is give you the idea that he is starting to see more like an animal. And at the same time, as you said before, he does not recognize the own English language his wife is speaking. To him, it sounds like what we must sound like when Japanese people listen to us talk. It's like, that's what he hears. He can't recognize human speech anymore, at least not English. Yeah, that's the next scene we get. And it's fucking done horribly because what they're trying to do is establish that he's changing and that he's starting not to be able to recognize human speech. His face, he's starting to get boils on his face because he's changing. He tries to talk to his wife, but the words that are coming out of his mouth don't sound like human and like real words. They're like, and you see in his mind what he's saying, and to him he sounds perfectly normal, but to her they can't communicate anymore because neither of them understand each other's words.
Yeah,
that's what that's about. What a fucking horrible way to explain that. And why would you need to explain that? Because as far as I know, in every other werewolf movie, the werewolves still can recognize human speech and know what they're saying, but they're blinded by that urge to kill. So this is also new. This is also new.
This is new. The thing is, when it comes to werewolves, that's depending. No, werewolves are, when it comes to the way they act, more like wolves. No, so depending on story to story, it's different. It'll derail the conversation if I get into it that too far.
I get it. The viewers get it too. It's a terrible movie. How about that? We can just say that. It's a terrible movie that doesn't make any sense. That only happens if next scene.
That only happens when they're at werewolves, when they're in werewolf form. That is when they become wolf. No, throughout the other transformation and other werewolves, you see like them becoming more aggressive, craving meat. No, starting to acting more animalistic, but not like not being able to understand shit anymore.
Yeah, this is new. This is totally new.
This is like totally ripped out from Ginger Snaps, just done way worse. No, because they tried. They tried to take. For me, they tried to take the entire werewolf transformation from Ginger Snaps. That is one that happens very slowly.
Very slowly,
of days or weeks or whatever. Yeah. No? And tried to do this in a matter of a few hours.
Yeah.
No? But it's bad. Okay, he can't talk anymore. No, then you have the scene where he's also laying in bed. We just explained where he's trying to say something to his wife. Why don't I understand you? Whatever, and they can't communicate anymore at this point. No.
And so this is where she gives him that piece of paper and says, "Okay, if you can't tell me, write down what's going on." And so, with all of his might, he's trying to write the word "dying," and so he writes the word "dying," and she looks at it and she's like, "Oh shit, okay, you're dying. All right." And then they try to have a conversation, even though she already knows that he can't understand her, and he knows that she can't understand him. But she goes on this long soliloquy about how much she loves him and how much she hopes that everything's going to be okay. And that scene lasts, 5 minutes. So we get 5 minutes of two people talking to each other where they don't understand a word they're saying. And it seems pointless in this film. Completely pointless.
Yeah, I mean,
you're wasting my time at this point.
You have to might overtake the lead, but because I was sure I could remember this movie, but now it's just like maybe it's my mind just trying to cope with how bad this movie is.
Yeah, it's one of those films like if you see a good horror movie and it struck you as good in some way, you remember it, right? I've had this problem too because I've tried to do this with other movies that we've done. Yeah. Where I don't have it in front of me, and I do completely fine, even if the movie is bad. This one is so fucking tragically bad that you can't do that. You have to have it up in front of you. because I
No, I
can't
mean,
remember.
Matt,
It's just a
specifically,
cloud.
what, what's mind-boggling is this is a werewolf movie. No,
Yeah.
and usually every single werewolf movie, no, that I have watched, a day or two later, I could literally go through it scene by scene by scene,
Yeah.
remembering the majority of it. And this is like right when we got in the cabins, and I was pretty sure when we started this episode, it's a werewolf movie. I'm good. No, but when they got into this
Yeah.
fucking cabin, a lot of shit was just because basically in my mind, I remember, okay, they go into the cabin, a lot of nonsensical shit happens. He starts not being able to understand or talk anymore. That goes on for like another 20, 30 minutes. And then then it remembers, then I remember them somehow, for some reason, Silver Surfer, no, sees a truck, at the barn, no, manages to find the car key, no,
Yeah.
and get everybody like Blake, no, the daughter, up to the truck and somehow
Yeah.
finds a car battery that all of a sudden is just there.
Dude,
It just sprung into
so
existence.
there's so much to say, Mike. There's so much to say, and like the scene, you're going. So what you're doing right now is you're jumping ahead to the part where something actually happens. Right?
Yeah, because
You're
this
jumping
is like
apart.
the only
You're
thing I
jumping ahead to
remember.
the part where there's actually Yeah, right. So up until this point, and I wanted to point this out, and I noticed it last night. I actually had to pause the movie and see how far we were into it. This scene where he's laying on the couch and he has to write down the fact that he's dying.
Yeah.
This movie, check this out. This movie is 1 hour and 42 minutes long. It's not even a full 2 hours. But at this point where he's lying on the couch, not in full transformation mode, and nothing has happened yet, we are at 59 minutes. We're at 59 minutes. That's more than half the movie, right? That's more than half the movie, and nothing has happened yet. We are still explaining what is going on in a movie where you don't need to explain what is going on. Like, it is blatantly obvious what is going on.
Yeah.
Give the audience a break from the monotonous, like, fucking write-up of what is happening, because we know what's happening. And you've not shown us any action yet. We're more than halfway through the movie, and we're just still in the cabin with him and his fucking daughter and his wife. And I was like, there's no way that anybody went to the theater and saw this and was happy at this moment. Like, this is annoying. And even Chrissy was like, this is a really slow movie. I'm like, yeah, no shit. So
Yeah.
we get that scene where he writes dying. And from that point on, there's a whole bunch of talking that happens that has no there's no reason for it in the story. Like, there's no reason for that to continue happening. And then we get another scene where he gets out of the bed and he kind of roams around the house, stooped over, with his face kind of looking all messed up. And he does that for like 10 minutes while his wife and his kid just watch him walk around the house. That's a full 10 minutes, right? Where nothing happens. And so I told you we were at 59 minutes at that point, right? So now we are at we are at an hour and 5 minutes. An hour and 5 minutes when she finally realizes by looking out the window that there's a truck parked in front of the barn, right? So there's a truck parked in front of the barn and she's like, oh, maybe we can use that to get out of here. So nobody knows where she got the fucking car battery from, but somehow she knows that the car is not going to start without a car battery. But magically, there's a car battery somewhere in the house with cables that you can use to hook up to the car battery in the truck. So she grabs it, and what does she do? She gives it to her husband, who is not really all there anymore, and says, hey, just carry this outside for me. So you see this Wolfman carrying this fucking battery that's heavy out to the car behind her, like, like she just thinks in her head that he might still be okay enough to carry this fucking heavy battery. She goes out to the car, shoves him and her daughter inside the car, which this truck that they're in, it's been sitting there a while. So the Front of the window is gunked up to where you can't see out of it. All the windows all the way around the car are just completely covered in dust. You can't see out of it. She hooks the battery up to the front of the truck, gets in, tries to crank it. It doesn't turn over. It doesn't turn over. It doesn't turn over. We get like this scene lasts 5 minutes of her trying to crank the fucking vehicle. 5 minutes. We get 5 minutes of
Yeah.
her trying to start a truck. Finally, it turns over and she's like, oh my God, thank God I got the truck started. We can get out of here. She gives a little smile, looks back to her changing husband who probably should not be around them anymore. And her daughter gives a smile and then turns on the windshield wipers, right? Because you can't see out of the car, right? This is the only legitimately, I wouldn't say scary, but it's a jump scare part of the movie, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The windshield wipers wash away the gunk, and this happens in a split second. The windshield wipers wash away the gunk, and you see this Crackman with really long fingernails, looking very like he needs a fix really bad. Like he's really hoping they have crack rocks in their pocket, right? Like he's like in front of the window, and you legitimately jump. Even though you were expecting this to happen, like I saw this happening for 10 minutes before it happened, but it happens and it's legitimately the only partially terrifying part of the film. So it washes the gunk away. The Wolfman is in front of the front window of the truck. He bashes his arm through the truck to grab them. So the window breaks. But if you know about windows of cars breaking, even ones that are from the 80s like this, when you break a car window, the whole thing shatters, right? You can't put your fist through a windshield. It doesn't work that way, right? But he does. He puts his fist through the windshield and it's like this. The glass is on his arm and he's trying to reach them, but the glass is stopping him. So they all jump out of the car, right? And Wolfman has his arm stuck in the windshield and can't get out. Let's forget about the fact that we find out later that these things have superhuman strength, because when he and the Wolfman get into a fight, they're throwing each other around the house like they weigh 10 pounds. Like they're strong. But yet this guy who's been a Wolfman forever, how long, can't get his arm out of this fucking window, right? He's stuck. So apparently he didn't feel like using superhuman strength at that point. But this is plot armor. It's only done that way so that history can get away.
This entire scene is plot armor because eventually they start running. He rips his out of the truck and then he runs towards them. No, and he doesn't even run like a werewolf. This reminds me, this guy, the way he walks, it reminds me of one of the Wheelers from The Return to Oz. No, that's what he looks like. I mean.
I was going to say Gollum from Lord of the Rings, but that's actually better. That's actually better. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, this dude is Gollum. That was actually one of my notes. It's like we replaced Wolfman with Gollum. That's how he runs.
Yeah, I mean, that's
you know. But however, the Wheelers from Return to Oz is probably a better example.
Yeah. I mean, the Crackman is now following the family, and then they climb. Somehow they managed to climb onto the greenhouse that's just made out of some plastic foil, whatever.
Mike, why was that their first choice?
Yeah, I don't know, because they're all idiots. That's why.
The house is right there. The barn is right there. They run into a plastic sheet and hang out on top of the plastic sheet, supported by little nylon rods that's supposed to support their weight when they're standing on top of the greenhouse, instead of back into the house where they know they're safe, or the barn.
Yeah, I mean, you have two adults, and one kid. Somehow, the weight of these three people does not cause the thing to collapse. And they're sitting on top, and you have Crackman running behind them, jumping up, scratching at the ceiling of this plastic foil thing. Constantly ripping holes in it that fall down, by the way, even though he's ripped multiple holes in it. After, I don't know, for whatever reason, the girl almost falls down, and the Crackman almost almost gets her, and then they rip her back
Yeah.
up. No?
Yeah.
And then for some reason, Blake, no, decides to just jump off, and he gives his Silver Surfer, his wife, no,
Yeah.
a look, no,
He goes,
and then
"Ugh,"
just
is what he does
decides to
because he
jump
can't
off.
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, he like points at the house and goes, "Ugh," like go to the house because he can't talk. We're in like caveman speak now, you know. Ugh.
Oh God.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Whatever. He jumps off, runs into the woods, and then the mother and the child run back into the cabin. Okay,
Right.
okay, okay. And then at this point, for some reason, the daughter says, "Oh, you left Daddy back," and blah blah blah. And the mother's like, "Oh no, he sacrificed himself for us." And then and the way both of these character acts is like, okay, I mean, the girl is like, her father might be dead now. The mother is like, oh shit, my husband is gone now. And both of them are just like, oh well, shit happens.
Yeah, none of them seem genuinely concerned at all. And like, okay,
Oh,
Daddy went to go fight this monster, and we're gonna be okay. And none of them are bothered by this at all. Like, there's no remorse here. There's no sadness. And I mean, you could probably argue that they're just scared for their lives and the adrenaline is going, and that's why they don't really care. But it doesn't make much sense, right? Um, so you hear him and Crackman fighting in the woods. You don't really
yeah,
hear what happens or who wins, but it's like the sound effects are cool here. It sounds like two werewolves fighting, like big
yeah,
monstrous
yeah.
beings
That's good.
fighting,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which doesn't fit to how they look because they don't look like big gigantic evil werewolves fighting. They're just two like drug addicts fighting in the woods. Whatever. And so uh after the sound is gone, the fighting is over. At least that's what they think. The wife goes and opens the screen door that's not supposed to be there because the creature busted through it before, but whatever. She opens the screen door and the dad comes walking in, uh and he's looking more like a wolf now too, out of nowhere. So he went from looking how he looked on
Yeah.
top of the
He's-
greenhouse to looking like a Wolfman now in the span of like 3 minutes. His
yeah,
hair is
yeah.
missing.
So so now he's Crackman Junior now. At
Yeah,
this
he's
point,
Crackman Jr. now, but he still has a little bit of the human in him. Because his daughter walks up to him. He's obviously injured because he just got in a big fight, and he's laying against the couch. And against the mother's better judgment, why she would let this happen. This thing looks evil as fuck at this point. Scary. He actually has teeth now that are protruding from the bottom of his jaw. And he's laying there and he's got this really terrifying, evil look on his face. And the mom lets the daughter walk up to him and put her hand on his head and goes, "Daddy, Daddy, what am I thinking right now?" Like, I'll tell you what he's thinking. He's thinking he wants to rip your fucking arm off and eat you alive, dude. Like, this is your dad. This is not your father anymore. Right? And so as she's doing this, we get the scene where they kind of turn the camera around and you see that the environment is changing because it's what he sees. And he sees the little girl with her hand
yeah,
on his head with her eyes lit up really bright, just like a wolf would see. And you get the twilight
yeah.
shimmering of the rest of the room. And she's talking, and all you hear her say is "Rah, rah, 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 rah," because he can't understand what she's saying. And then he
Yeah.
speaks back to her, and he goes, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." Like, so does he to himself sound like he's saying "Rah, rah, rah, rah," like we've gotten this completely mixed up at this point. And the scene, yeah, it's all caveman speak, right? There's no point of that in this scene. But anyway, while his daughter is doing this, and he's trying to have this awkward caveman conversation with his daughter, he feels something in his chest coming up. So he gets up and puts both hands on the ground and throws up. And as he throws up, you realize that he spit out or threw up the finger
A
of
finger.
the
No, was
monster
it the
that he was
finger? I think.
fighting. So he,
No.
yeah. I think it was a finger. It looks like a finger.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he ate the thing's finger and he realizes, oh shit, I think I killed this guy, but I also ate part of him as well. And I think we missed a scene that doesn't make any sense. I have to kind of go back to find it, but she takes the bandage, and I think this is before she puts him in the car.
I wanted to bring that up too. We missed that one. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about this because this makes zero sense as well.
I mean, because you see somehow they're in this one room and blood starts to come down his bandage. No?
Yeah.
So then the wife starts to take off the bandage and you see all of a sudden the wound has spreaded. Like his skin is gone. You basically only see muscle and veins and everything. And this is also, what you say, why? From one little scratch, I mean, he's supposed to be turning into a werewolf. I mean, if you would have like wolf, like hair and wolf underneath it, that might make sense. No, but
Right.
I mean, this is why it's pointless. Is because specifically what he's turning into. This would make sense if he would be turning into a zombie, not to a werewolf.
Yeah.
Because if you get infected, what happens during the werewolf transformation is that the wounds you get heal.
Right. Right. Exactly.
No? I mean, either
that is well established
or
werewolf
something
lore
happens.
right there.
It would make sense.
In every movie.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, it doesn't really show it in every movie, but it's done so often that that's what a lot of people assume because it's done in a lot of werewolf movies.
Yeah.
But what would make sense at this point if he would have like wolf fur on his arm?
Yeah.
On that point, no, or it would be covered in that would make sense, but not the wound getting fucking worse because he would bleed less, not more.
Yeah. Well, he also would not be turning into, like you said, a zombie. This is necrotic flesh. This is flesh that is obviously putrefying and dying, right? This is not, like you said, what happens in werewolf movies. Either it would be healed, like we see in every movie, right? Or there would be hair, right? But no, we get a zombie arm. So at this point, I was like, is he turning into a zombie Wolfman?
No, I mean, at this point, I didn't care anymore because at this point he's just turning into Crackman. So he's not turning into werewolf. He's turning into a fucking homeless crack addict. No, but
yeah, okay, I get that. But then what happens next makes even less sense, Mike, because he looks at his arm and he sees that it's necrotic and he sees that blood is coming out everywhere. And then starts doing something that Deadites do, dude. He looks at his arm and goes, starts chewing on his arm. What the fuck? Why? What sense does that make? It makes like I feel like they put a bunch of they put a bunch of 8-year. I know how they made this movie, Mike. They put a bunch of 8-year-olds in a room. They put a bunch of 8-year-olds in a room and put them on LSD and said, here's paper, write me a movie about a wolfman. At least write us a movie about a wolfman with your knowledge of what a wolfman is and then make it really interesting. So what we get here is a movie that's written by 8-year-olds that have been locked in a room on LSD and they wrote this story. That's what we get. Like one of them was like, I think werewolves rot when they get bitten, like zombies, right? They rot like zombies, and then they get a taste for human flesh. So if we pull off the bandage and he sees it, he's going to want to eat it, right? Because he's a zombie. Like there's no sense in this movie, dude. And that happens before the part that we just talked about where he has to fight the wolf.
Okay. So I think because then I think we can get back more to the part we were talking about before. No, when he puked on. When he puked on the. Fuck it, exactly. When he puked on the floor and he's blood everywhere, not because he puked blood. He had like the finger of Crackman that he pulled out of his mouth. No, then he shortly runs after the mother, starting to attack her. No, because he's just losing it now because he has to get it fixed.
Yeah,
And
yeah, Crackman now,
he's Crackman Junior now almost.
or at
No,
least we think so.
However,
Crackman Junior.
then he has he has this a moment of clarity looking at them. No, seeing like, okay, I just have to get out of here. No, then he clearly see what he wants to do. He wants to open up the door and get out, so he's away from his family. No,
Right.
At this point, Crackman just comes running in. Like he was.
Yes, Crackman
Okay.
attacks Crackman Junior.
Crackman Junior.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's actually a pretty good fight. Like I can't diss on this fight too much. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Like they're biting each other.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
very
it's fine.
violent. Yeah, they're throwing each other around the house with like superhuman strength, like through walls and into ceilings, and it's a pretty good fight. I can't hate it. The only thing is how the fight ends that bothers me, Mike.
Yeah. Well, actually, the only thing I remember, because this is the point where it establishes that Crackman is actually the father of Crackman Jr. That's why he decided to call Blake
Right.
Crackman Jr. Because you can see the tattoo on his arm.
Yeah.
Exactly. The fight
Right.
goes on or whatever. Somehow Silver Surfer kind of gets involved in the fight between the two. Yeah.
In a very poor way. In a very poor way.
In a very poor way.
It's like, you know how, and you might have seen this at my house, although I don't hit my dogs, but a dog gets something in its mouth that it's not supposed to have, and you grab something big and scary and you go, no, and you like hit it on your hand. You're like, no, to try to get the dog to drop whatever it's got in its mouth. She takes it a step further and it's like a screwdriver, dude. It's not even anything like big and heavy. And she's like hitting him with it. She's like, no, like you would do to a dog. No, stop that. And she's hitting him while he's trying to drag his son out of the house, right? No, with this fucking screwdriver. And at that point, Wolfman or Crackman is upset about this, obviously, because he's being hit in the face with a screwdriver, and drops Crackman Jr. on the ground and starts to come for the wife, right? So at this point, this is another thing that just defies any werewolf lore and makes no sense. But Crackman Jr. gets up off the ground and attacks Crackman from behind, gets him on the ground, and bites him in the neck, right?
Yeah.
When he bites him in the neck, he kind of like bites and then pulls a piece of flesh out and spits it out. That is enough to kill Crackman. Right? We've seen werewolves in every movie attack each other and fuck each other up.
Yeah, they have to fuck each other up. Depends. The thing is, when it comes to werewolf lore, usually a werewolf can be killed by another werewolf. Because wounds inflicted by another werewolf don't heal like regeneratively like werewolves normally heal. It takes over that's quite often. Because that's one of the three established lores. Werewolves kill silver bullet, fire, or by another werewolf.
Yeah.
Or another shapeshifter. Right. Because wounds inflicted by other shapeshifters heal normally like they do from mortals. So if he bites him right in the fucking neck of his health artery, he could bleed to death. So that actually, that is like the one thing in the movie that does not necessarily defy werewolf lore. But the thing is also
like that bothers me. But this is such a quick death too, Mike. Like this is like I bite you in the neck and you die. It 2 seconds and the thing is dead, right?
Yeah.
It's arguable. A normal human could just do that to this werewolf and it would have killed it as well. It doesn't have to be another werewolf. But yeah, you're right. In this scene, we get the dead body of Crackman on the ground. The body does not de-evolve back into a human being, which is also what we expect, right? But that doesn't happen. It's just laying there, a dead Crackman that looks exactly like it did when it was killed. And you see on his arm the tattoo that we saw earlier in the movie that was his father's tattoo. And that's how he realizes that this is actually his father that's supposed to be deceased. But what happened was his father turned into a wolfman and then ran into the woods and they assumed he was dead. But he just killed his father, right? I think that he's overcome with grief at this point, Crackman Jr., and that he still has enough human left in him because he immediately, after seeing the tattoo, runs out in the yard, falls on his chest and his stomach, and rolls around and starts kind of crying.
This is the point that bothered me because this is the scene that's supposed to be the werewolf transformation. What is absolutely fucking pointless because at this point, he is basically already became Crackman Jr. And the transformation in this scene is literally just like you say, Matt. Him following to on the floor, going,
Yeah.
and you see like his bones shifting or whatever was totally fucking pointless, and he's just rolling on his back, going.
Yeah.
Then he sticks his
it's-
hand into
it's-
his mouth, pulling on his jaw. And it's like, this is like,
It bothers the shit out of me, dude. Like, what is the
a
point of
fucking
that?
werewolf? And then,
Can we
and-
say that this is the worst werewolf transformation we've seen in a movie, except for maybe some of those that were made in the 60s that are done with stop motion? This is awful.
well, yes, this is the worst werewolf transformation ever. I mean, the ones done back in the 60s, you couldn't call them bad. You could just say it's outdated because at the time they did not really have much they could work with, So, I mean, the old werewolf movies from the 60s were the transformations were good at the time. And you can accept it going by the fact that those movies were saying, but what makes this so fucking the worst werewolf transformation scene ever is that it's totally fucking pointless because he's already more or less turned into the fucking werewolf.
Right.
No?
Yeah. So
And
we get the very end of
The
the
only thing
transformation.
happened the only thing you see happening is like his claws coming out, and somehow his bones in his hands reshifting, and then him rolling through the dirt, going. It's like what is this? Then he stands on all four, looking up into the woods, and then you see like now it doesn't go at this point to twilight sparkling shit, going on to neon sparkling stuff. I think, and this scene makes it almost seem like he's he's going to a fucking rave party.
Yeah, that's the same thing. It's like when somebody who is going to like a big techno party shows up. They've already dropped like, a hit of ecstasy and maybe some acid before they got there, and they show up to the rave scene, like the big open area. Everything's lit up and looks beautiful, and he's like, oh. It's what they were going for was the full transformation to where now he is completely Wolfman, so everything he sees has a different look to it, and he's compelled to think it's like beautiful, so he's accepted it, right? But that is not at all what the scene does. The scene looks ridiculous because during the transformation they also did not show any hair sprouting from his body at all. Like, that is also a typical trope. You see the hair sprout from his body. That didn't happen. But now you're seeing him from the back, and there's hair all over his shoulders and his back that we didn't see sprout out. So now he's full Wolfman without an actual visual transformation at all. That's what it is. And if you were going to call this movie Wolfman because you are retelling the story of a sacred IP that people like, you would have at least done a little bit of a transformation that paid homage to that. But this does none of that, and it falls completely.
This is because this is the thing. Even though a lot of people criticize the Wolfman remake from 2010 because the werewolf transformations are CGI.
Yeah.
No, I would say even that didn't bother me because that is like the one werewolf movie. No, Wolfman 2010. Where the werewolf transformation was done with CGI, but it was still good.
It was good. Yeah, it was good. I mean,
no,
I remember, and it's also creepy too, Mike, because in that movie, he's in a chair and strapped down in front of a whole bunch of doctors that are in this room watching him, And the guy that is
Yeah.
the main scientist in charge is trying to explain that this man is mentally ill and thinks that he's turning into a werewolf. So we're going to watch that fake transformation. And what happens is he actually turns into a werewolf.
He's turning into a werewolf.
It's a brilliant fucking scene. I love that scene in that movie. It was done so
It is, absolutely.
and the
Yeah.
CGI was done tastefully. Like you said, very tastefully done CGI. It worked. It didn't take you out of it, and it paid homage to the original movie. This does none of that.
Yeah.
None of that. It falls completely flat. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. However, now then, this is okay. Now this is a scene. Crackman Jr. becomes Crackman now
Right.
because
Right.
the original Crackman is dead.
Yeah.
No? Okay. Then, the mother is in the house doing pretty much nothing, just acting like, okay, well, maybe it's time to go to bed, and and then he's looking out the windows or whatever. I don't know. I mean, after that, what she's in the house doing nothing, just like just walking
Yeah.
around, doing like, oh, it's a nice evening. Oh, my husband just died. Oh, a dead werewolf laying on the floor. Maybe we can
Right.
go to bed now.
Right. Yeah, and that's what it looks like they're doing. They're just standing there, like wondering what to do next. And then you kind of get a wide shot of the inside of the house, and you realize that Crackman has come down the stairs. Somehow he got in the house, right? We don't hear him get into the house,
Yeah.
but somehow he's gotten into the house, and he's coming down the stairs in the background. So now Crackman is in the house with them, right?
Yeah.
She and her daughter don't realize this, but at this point, finally, she's like, huh, well, maybe since my husband is out in the yard and is Crackman, he's a danger to us. Maybe now I should grab a knife. So she goes to the kitchen and grabs a knife. So she's got a big butcher knife in her hand, right? And she's just standing there watching the door to see if he's going to come back. Little does she know he's already in the house, right? He walks up to them from behind. There's no jump scare or anything. He walks up to them from behind, like, kind of zombie-esque too, not Wolfman-esque. Yeah. He walks up to him. They turn around. She's got the butcher knife in her hand. He's not looking very threatening at this point either, Mike. He looks.
I mean, at this point,
he looks remorseful, like he doesn't want.
He's just you just feel pity with him. It's like you don't have the feeling that this guy could hurt anyone. It's just like literally like he's at this point he looks like a drug addict that hasn't had drugs for like 3 days.
Yeah.
And
they feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can barely move usually if you have like when is it called when Entzug?
Yeah.
No?
Withdrawals.
Withdrawal, exactly. Yeah?
Yep.
So he looks like a junkie now that's on withdrawal because he hasn't had a fix in 5 days. You feel bad for him at this point. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
he's literally, his face is like, oh, he's not, he looks pitiful. And what does his fucking wife do? She's had pity with him the entire time. Like, this is the most patient, trusting woman who's like, maybe it's gonna be okay. And then she sees him in this state, standing in front of her, needing a fix, like, oh, she stabs him with a fucking butcher knife. What the fuck? Like, this is the
By the way,
dude.
I might be nitpicking here, but that's not a butcher knife.
What is it? It looks like
it's just a normal big kitchen knife.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
Well, it's a kitchen, whatever. Kitchen knife. She stabs him with the kitchen knife, and he has this look on his face when she does it, like, oh, why did you do that? You know what I mean? Like, he's not upset about it. He's like mortally wounded in his soul that she just stabbed him with a butcher knife. He's like, I wasn't trying to hurt you. I wasn't going to do anything, and you stabbed me with a butcher knife. She just signed her own death warrant by doing that because that brings out the primal rage in him, right?
Yeah.
So he's standing there trying to get the butcher knife out, and they haul ass to the barn, which is what they should have done when they got out of the fucking truck in the first place. Because
Yeah.
when they got out of the truck, the
Yeah.
barn was right there. You could have gone to the barn. Instead, you went and you got in the greenhouse, which makes no sense. Anyway, they run to the barn, and this scene lasts way too long, Mike. This is another scene that lasts way too fucking long.
Yeah. Because somehow, no, she found a bear trap, no, that was hooked onto a chain.
Yeah.
Now they run into the barn, no.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you see her grab a chain, no. So now, within a matter of a few seconds, she managed to to take a bear trap, put a chain towards it, no.
Open the bear trap.
Open the bear trap.
Keep in mind, this
Make
is
the
a
bear-
tiny little woman. These bear traps.
Yeah, no, however, but and also manages to make the bear trap so it won't move anymore, but putting the chain somewhere else, no? Within a matter of like 5 seconds, because you just see her running into the barn and hiding with the daughter, and somehow she put this thing up because you've seen her before. She runs in the barn grabbing some chain or whatever, no? So then you don't
In the dark,
really
Mike,
know what's
in the dark without the flashlight
in the
on.
dark. Yeah.
In the dark. So you're telling me this? She probably looks like she weighs 108 pounds soaking wet, right? This this is a very thin, tiny woman. So you're telling me in the dark, she found a bear trap, she found a chain, she attached the chain to the bear trap, she used all of her might to pull the bear trap open, and while it was open, put the pin in the bear trap to where it stayed open. Impossible. Fucking possible. Impossible for me, impossible for you, impossible for a seasoned hunter to do in the dark. She does this and then puts the bear trap in front of them where they hide behind something so that if he does get too close, he gets stuck in the bear trap, right?
Yeah, and
Highly
and
unlikely.
then you don't see you see like him banging Crackman banging at the doors, no? And then like a dog starting to try to dig his way through. But that's it. Then all of a sudden everything is just dark. No? And then then all of a sudden you see the world through Crackman's eyes again. So now the entire thing turns back into a rave. And even the colors they use, it's
like a
neon.
rave. It is.
It's neon sparkles. This is like as if you're asked. I mean, this reminds me of fucking Nature One,
Yeah.
and I haven't even been there yet. I've never been to that festival.
Yeah.
Okay. However,
It doesn't make any sense. It's made worse by the fact that you're seeing what he sees, and he's creeping up on them very quietly, like a wolf would, which we know so far in this film that these things are not quiet at all. They're not. Like, they're loud as shit. They shuffle around the floor. They make noise. They're not hunting prey. They're loud as fuck, right? And somehow he gets this far from him. So you see what he sees, and he's inches away from them, and you see their eyes lit up like a wolf would see at night. There's neon colors everywhere, and he's just sitting there looking at them. That's it. And this scene,
a werewolf.
a
werewolf.
Mike, this scene, all of that lasts 9 minutes. 9 minutes.
Yeah.
Of nothing. Literally nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. And then Crackman snaps into the bear trap and gets caught and can't move anywhere. No. Okay. Then Silver Surfer and the kid just take off and just run into the woods. No. And then Crackman decides to, just pull off a saw from the Saw movie and just bite his fucking foot off. I mean, by the way, this is supposed to be a fucking werewolf, and it can't manage to open up a fucking bear trap
that his wife, who weighs 108 pounds soaking wet, was able to do by herself a minute ago. It is easier and less painless for him to chew off his own leg than open a bear trap that his 108-pound wife was able to do 2 seconds ago.
A fully transformed werewolf, by the way.
Yeah, and this makes no sense Adam, this was a very poor choice. A very poor choice.
I mean, it wouldn't make sense if at least you would see his foot grow back or something. But no, how, however, but somehow, even though he just bent his foot off and starts crawling out of the barn, you see like the mother and the daughter, running through the woods. He manages to start actually running on all fours.
Yes,
even though
with a stump
he
for
only
a
had,
foot. Yes.
yeah, with a stump for a foot. Okay, whatever. Huh? However, then you have like this chase scene. This where Crackman
Yeah.
is following Silver Surfer and the kid through the woods. No? Then they come back to
Right.
the car that's perfectly lined up in the trees or whatever. Are we gonna go there? Are we not gonna go there? I mean, Silver Surfer runs back to find a gun because she remembered that the redneck
Finally.
had a gun.
Finally.
Finally. No?
Yes.
So then Silver Surfer, runs back to the treehouse.
The treehouse from the very beginning of the movie.
From the beginning, no? Yeah. From the very beginning of the movie. And the car's up there with the daughter, and then she's just pointing the gun at the thing. Then we have literally now the exact same scene as in the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
Wolfman starts coming up. You see like him breathing up the air, and then Crackman's hand goes over, and then he just peekaboos up in front of the.
It is. It's like, hello.
Oh, I'm here.
Not scary at all. At all. Like
Yeah,
this should be the scene here where they build some tension and they don't.
Yeah, I don't know. Then the daughter says like, "Oh yeah, he wants it to be over," but not like she's sad that her dad is now turned into this thing or whatever. The daughter's just sitting there like, "Well, I guess now he wants it to be over."
Yeah. So Mike, this is the scene that this should have been the entire movie coming into fruition, because the whole time she's been putting her hand on his head and saying, you're thinking that I love my daughter right now. So they try to establish in some way that she can legitimately read his mind, right?
Yeah.
And they do that over and over in this film where she does that. This part, he sticks his head over the top of the treehouse and is looking at them. And she magically has this moment where she can read his mind again, but she's not touching his head. And she goes, "Aw, Mom, he just wants it to be over." You did not need to establish throughout the movie that she can read his mind to be able to tell what he's thinking right now. Because the face he's making when he comes over the top is not scary. It's not, "I want to eat you." It's not, "I want to murder you." It is, "I am so sad. I am so sad."
Please kill me.
Right? So you didn't need to be able to read minds to know that at all.
Yeah. However, of course, the mother hesitates. Obvious. I mean, yeah, because of her husband. Then he gets pissed off and starts to charge towards.
Yeah,
them,
like he gave him a chance.
And this is the thing that I find insanely funny and ironic. No, that Wolfman gets killed by Silver Surfer. because at this time, I mean, because Julie Garner, she's the gender swap Silver Surfer.
Yeah, of course,
in the new Fantastic Four movie. No?
Right.
However, okay, then they fall down, and Crackman is now on the floor, bleeding to death, and then now the daughter comes up and lays her hand, says something, and then that's it. The movie's over.
Yeah, that's it. End of film.
End of film. I mean, the last scene specifically is like, this scene was done in all Wolfman movies, all three. The first one, the remake, and this one. It's the scene where actually after Wolfman defeats his father and kills the other werewolf, and then his love interest goes back into the woods to get away from them, and then is chased by Wolfman. His love interest kind of starts to maybe get through to Wolfman, but she's holding a gun loaded with a silver bullet at his chest. And when she realizes that she can't save him anymore, she shoots him in the heart with a silver bullet. No?
Yeah.
And this
And if I remember
is
correctly, Mike, too, the original film, and correct me if I'm wrong, I might be misremembering this, but it could have been the original film and it could have been the 2010 remake, or maybe both did it. But when she points the gun at him and it has a silver bullet in it, he does the fly move from The Fly, where he grabs the gun and points it at his heart. Like, he doesn't try to attack.
no remake.
So not in the remake, but maybe in the original, because I remember it in one of the films.
Maybe it might be in the original, not sure,
Yeah.
but not in the remake.
She
In
points the gun
no.
at him and he moves it to his heart and she shoots and kills him. Right.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened here.
No. I mean, this is, okay, so now we're finally through with it. And I mean, I'm going to be honest. I mean, I would give this movie a 0 out of 10. I mean, no, I would say maybe.
I'm gonna say it's the worst werewolf movie that exists, and that might seem a little extreme, but I'm saying that because you have to follow the logic here. This was built off of a sacred IP of a werewolf that follows all of the tropes of werewolves, and you did this with it, which is not a werewolf movie. This is not a fucking.
I mean, no, it's not. It's not a werewolf movie or a werewolf story that follows all werewolf tropes. It is the movie that established them.
Yes. So Mike, my notes on this, here's my notes at the end of the film, and I made sure I wrote them right after the film was over with. Check this out if this doesn't make sense. Defanged werewolf lore. The film strips away classic werewolf tropes. No full moon, no silver bullets, no curses, and it leaves a creature that's more Gollum-ish monster than Wolfman. It is the least interesting version of a werewolf movie I have ever seen. That about wrap it up?
That follows up. I mean, the concept itself, the way the plot is set up and everything, it would have not necessarily been a bad movie if it wasn't a werewolf movie, specifically Wolfman. If this was just some kind of curse or demonic possession thing or whatever, you could say, okay, it's not bad. It's fine. No, it's mediocre, but it's watchable. But considering the fact that this is supposed
found this
to be,
watchable?
I mean, if it wasn't a werewolf,
okay.
If it would,
okay.
I mean, I'm just saying, if this was something else, if it was really just some redneck hunting them, or some kind of demonic possession thing, if it wasn't a werewolf movie, you could say that it was watchable. But considering the fact that this is supposed to be not a werewolf movie, it is the werewolf movie.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
It's not a werewolf movie, it's supposed to be the werewolf movie.
Yes.
That makes it insanely fucking bad because nothing throughout this story makes any sense in a werewolf movie. If it was something entirely new, you could be like, yeah, okay. But
so
I agree with you. It is the worst werewolf movie I have ever seen.
Yeah. And this is kind of the end write-up that I got. Like I tried to take everything into account and then kind of say what this movie was, because we haven't really done this on any other podcast episodes, but I want to make a warning to anyone who wants to watch this film, because that would be an utter waste of your time. And there's a lot of reasons for that.
Yeah.
So this movie aimed at reinventing the myth with psychological depth, but ended up with instead a creature that isn't scary, logic that doesn't hold up, especially around the creature's behaviors, a premature devotion to family melodrama, which that's what this was. This was a family fucking drama, lighting and pacing that completely kill the atmosphere. All of the lighting and all of the shit that they used when he is like turning into a werewolf and everything that you see, that kills the dark atmosphere of the film completely. And a soundtrack that feels emotionally displaced. Did you notice the soundtrack throughout the film? It's hard to pay attention because of how bad this film is. It's hard to pay attention to the
Yeah.
soundtrack
No,
and
I'm
have
gonna
that
be
be
honest. The
relevant.
soundtrack.
But the music
Yeah.
throughout the film, Mike, all of it was upbeat music the entire time. It was soulful and happy and cheery. There was not one moment of like creepy music. It was all happy, which makes no sense emotionally to the film. There are so many problems with atmosphere in this film.
Yeah. I mean,
Fuck.
for me so far, the worst werewolf movie I've seen was Big Bad Wolf. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what
That
though,
was
Mike? Big Bad
that
Wolf was meant to be funny.
I know. It was meant to be funny. I know that, no? But I know it wasn't. The problem was it was not necessarily meant to be a serious movie, but I thought the movie was bad. American Werewolf in Paris was also meant to be funny.
Yes.
No?
Yes.
And what you can criticize about the movie is the werewolf CGI.
It's terrible.
It's
yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Still a better movie than
But-
this.
Exactly. But American Werewolf in Paris itself is not a bad movie. No? It's not necessarily a bad werewolf movie. It's just the CGI transformation they've done, the werewolf design, it's only the werewolf design is bad.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
But everything else about the movie, I would say, from American Werewolf in Paris is a pretty decent werewolf movie. No?
Yeah.
But for me, the worst werewolf, on my list considered the worst werewolf movie was Big Bad Wolf until I saw this. This is like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll give you that.
This is, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I just feel like we're kind of in a de-evolution. Like if you want to go into horror film theory, right? It's a super long conversation, but it basically comes down to a few things. And this is what I think everybody needs to be aware of. As I said earlier, Blumhouse is one of those it's one of those groups that takes something good and ruins it. That's what they do. But it's not just Blumhouse. It's a whole bunch of different movie studios. And if you take something like this, there's a certain amount of respect you have to give it. Even if it is kind of a childish kind of thing. Like at this point, you can look back and say, yeah, werewolves are kind of an overdone trope. There's good movies, there's bad movies, but one thing pushes all those movies together except for this movie and Big Bad Wolf, and that is that you lend respect to the IP. You lend respect to the writing that came before. You lend respect to the original story, and you keep that stuff intact. This movie shits all over everything that werewolves are, just like Big Bad Wolf did, except Big Bad Wolf was meant to be a joke. This was meant to be
It was
serious,
meant to be funny.
and it was terrible and disrespectful to the IP.
I'm going to be honest. Even from the original 1980s Teen Wolf, is a better werewolf movie than this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, Teen Wolf was more funny. It was more a comedy. And it wasn't. I don't know. I mean, I just have no. I can usually find something positive out of any werewolf movie.
Yeah.
But this is, I mean,
I'm dumbfounded too, dude. I was dumbfounded after I watched it. I don't even know what to say. Like it could possibly be the worst movie we've done for the podcast so far. The worst movie so far.
it is.
Would you agree?
Yes,
This is the worst movie. Like
this is so far the worst movie we've ever done on the podcast.
like
And I'm
Nightmare
gonna
on
be
Elm
honest,
Street was bad, but it doesn't hold a fucking candle to this film.
I know, and I think this movie is so bad. I think it's a shame that it's titled Wolfman, huh? And I'm from now on, I'm just under us in the podcast. I'm not even going to recognize this as Wolfman. I'm going to call it Crackman from now
Crackman,
on.
yeah.
No,
Yeah,
no.
Crackman.
Whenever people know, no, me and Matt in future say the movie title Crackman, we're referring to 2025
Yes.
Wolfman.
There will
Because
be
I'm not
callbacks.
even,
Yes.
yeah, I'm not even gonna this first. I mean, it's oh, it's very hard to even consider this to be a werewolf movie, and I'm not gonna no, this is not Wolfman. That's why I'm just going to refer to this movie from now from all times as Crackman.
Yes, and that's
Yeah, at least on this
probably
podcast.
should be the title on the thumbnail too, right? Crackman.
Well, yeah, Crackman.
The Ballad of Crackman. Let's call it the Ballad of Crackman.
The Ballad of
The Ballad of
Crackman. Okay,
Crackman.
yeah, that's good.
Okay, I got nothing else. I got nothing else that I can say about this film. And we're at 2 hours right now. I think anything else we say about this film is just mercilessly beating this thing to death. Like,
yeah, yeah.
the only hope that I have, Mike, like, so when we
Yeah.
decided we wanted to start this podcast, it was because you and me share this crazy love for heavy metal and horror movies. Like that's probably our biggest thing, right? Those two things. And if this thing were to ever get popular, which we don't do this because we want it to become popular, we hope it does, but that wasn't the aim. If it does become popular, I hope that people watch this episode, including some of the people at Blumhouse, and realize what they are doing to horror films. And people point this out and say, hey, if you really want to see how bad this is, watch these guys talk about it. Because they'll point out everything about this film that was just utterly ridiculous to the point that you can't leave this podcast wanting to give this movie a chance. I hope that whoever fucking sees this doesn't watch the movie and just talks shit about it. That's what I hope. I hope this movie gets blackballed. Because it's true.
I don't know. I mean, the movie came out. In January, and so far, what I can see from the movie, nobody liked it.
No,
Nobody.
I've read the reviews on. They're all bad. There's not one good. I mean, there might be one or two good reviews, but usually you can tell that those were paid reviews, right? And we were talking about audience score and about Rotten Tomatoes score. Rotten Tomatoes usually is very, very negative, right? But this film got 55% Rotten Tomato score, which I don't think it deserves that. I think it deserves like a negative number, right? And audience
Yes, for me.
score was lower. Audience score was 44%, but I think those people were paid to do that. And even if they were paid, they could not give this movie a good rating, even if they were paid to do it. It is that fucking bad. And it's a shame because the actors are good. The actors are good. The little girl, like I said, is believable the entire film. She has some good lines and she's cute. Like, she makes you want to see what's going to happen to her. And the mom is a great actress. She does really good stuff. This is clearly director and writer that botched the shit out of this film. So whatever, dude. Don't watch it. Don't watch it.
No.
Don't waste your time.
Don't watch it.
There's other bad movies you can watch that are actually good.
Specifically, if you're a werewolf fan, stay away from it.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Stay away from it.
Absolute fucking garbage.
I mean, I remember I don't know. I have to remember the title. There's a movie that also done that. Oh, it was a werewolf movie that didn't have a werewolf. It turned out to just be some guy having mental issues. No. It was a German movie, by the way.
Oh, okay.
With Jan-Josef Liefers.
Okay.
Is the actor that played that.
That's why I haven't
can't
seen
remember the name of the title, but that was actually a good movie. Even though, what? Even
That's
though
why I
at
haven't
the
seen
end, it was never a werewolf movie.
Okay.
But throughout the entire movie, build it up that this guy thought he was becoming a werewolf because, and at the end, it was just a dog that attacked him.
Okay.
and everything else that was happening was just he had some kind of mental illness.
Okay.
Was still a good movie away, by the way, even though it was not a werewolf movie. No, but because this is like Wolfman is a werewolf movie where people get hunted by werewolves. The movie establishes that it's a werewolf movie. Multiple people get killed by a werewolf, but you never see the werewolf in the movie.
There is another movie too that is actually a movie that I love, and you've probably seen it too, and it's called Brotherhood of the Wolf. It's a French movie. Have you seen that? Okay, so
yes,
that is a werewolf, not a werewolf movie as well. Like you think the entire film that this is a werewolf. Like all the tropes are set up, everything is put there to make you believe that it's a werewolf, and in the end you find out it's not a werewolf. That movie was excellent. It was a great fucking movie. This movie was supposed to be about a werewolf, and it was fucking terrible. I don't know. It's just sickening, man. I'm tired of it. Like it's like heavy metal. The market is flooded with stuff that is garbage, and you have to kind of like read reviews and see what people say about it to see if it's worth your time listening to or watching. You know what I mean? And this is one of those. Don't waste your fucking time. Anyway, I'm done beating this movie to death, dude. You got anything else you want to say about it?
no, not really.
No, I
I'm
don't either.
done.
It's
I'm done.
very
I mean-
fucking forgettable.
I'm done. Well,
I hope, Mike, I don't remember what you said, but I hope that the next movie that we're doing is actually a good movie, because this is, I don't want to do this again. I don't want to do this again.
I have to look because we still have the Evil Dead episodes we wanted to do with Nim. And how should I say it? We might have to change up the schedule a little bit now, because we were supposed to do Evil Dead 1 and 2 on Monday, and we're going to have to put this episode on that point instead. No?
Okay.
But
We'll figure it out. Let's just make a
however,
promise to the viewers that the next one will be a good movie.
yeah, the next one is going to be a good movie, and because the next episodes we have, we're all coming up with guests. No?
Okay, good.
Nim, we already said that Evil Dead they were going to do with him.
Yep.
No, because he was supposed to come back in July, and the next movie would be in August. No, Dark Harvest.
Yep. And that is
the guest. That's one with a guest that we're not saying.
We're not going to say who it is. Yeah. That's going to be a good one, though. That's going to be a good one. Another metal artist coming on. That's one of my favorite fucking people. So that'll be great. Anyway, so we're done beating this movie to death. Stay tuned for the next episode. We're on Spotify and YouTube. Drop us a like, follow us, do all that good stuff. If you like listening to us shred things that are bad. Anyway, until next time, I'm Matt.
I'm Mike.
See you guys later.
See you later. Bye.
The blackest eyes, the darkest eyes. Bring them some good